Now, Sir Ivan, if you will press this switch over when I say now, that will open our station. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Thank you very much.
So good evening. God, what a mess up that was. So first of all, YouTube seems to have set up 2 streams, so I couldn't work out which one was which. Then I went live, or I thought I went live. It turns out, because I forget, I don't do many live streams anymore, you have to press the go live button, and then it says, are you sure you want to go live? And because I didn't press that, are you sure, I thought I was streaming, and I'm like, I can't find it on YouTube. So welcome, guys. So a little bit of a June update, a shout out and a favor. I have a channel intro, as you've just seen. What I've done is I've been toying with the idea for probably about a year or so now to use the intro. I was actually thinking of using the intro from Sale of the Century. I don't know if anybody knows of Sale of the Century, but it goes, and now live from Norwich, it's the Sale of the Century. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo. But I'm not in Norwich anymore. I'm from Norwich. So anyway, so there's a guy I watch. I think it's the Interesting Model Show, something like that, and he uses the HTV beginning. So I thought, yeah, I've got to use the Anglia, but I'm in Scotland now, and it's like every day I become more Scottish. I'm even picking up some words. So guys, it's a little bit long. There's a 15-second blackness at the beginning. The reason for the blackness at the beginning is by the time you run the video, and then it just gives you a bit of time to hit the live button. But I want to show you my second intro, which is kind of Scotland taking over the Anglia. I just want to get your thoughts on it. So let's have a look. So like I said, I do apologize. It's got a 15-second blackness at the beginning.
Now, Sir Ivan, if you will press this switch over when I say now, that will open our station. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now.
What do you think, guys? Better, worse? Both of them useless? Anyway, shout outs. So first of all, we have got Scale Model Muse, who does is that a clap or is that holding something? He then says YT may have caused a double link issue. Yeah, because I did spot him on the other stream, and I just had a feeling this was a stream that was going to go live. So I put, yeah, possibly, or could just be me hitting the wrong buttons. I set this up this morning, and I've not been in the best of ways at the moment, and I've been trying to get motivated today, and I'm like getting motivated for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to bed for an hour. And then I had Alexa set an alarm, and I just kept sitting there going, Alexa, snooze half an hour. And I think I did that about 4 times. That's the kind of day I'm having, but I'm just exhausted from work. So sorry. Yeah, so just 3 minutes before I was going to stream, my lodger's come home, and there is my door from my balcony, and we've just put a washing line a couple of weeks ago, and he wants to put his washing out, and I didn't think it'd be proper to have a stream, and then suddenly this 78-foot tall Eastern European guy comes walking through the door. So Scale Mom, no worries, just looking for something to do before work. Smith B says hello all. Sounds like the day I've had. So welcome to Chris Creates. I'm loving your Lego video. I know they're not Lego. No, is it you not? No, it's someone else not doing Lego. But yeah, I am loving it. I do like your builds, Chris. John Alex Scale Modeling, another new YouTube channel that I've been watching lately. Really enjoying it. And Chris, the great thing with discovering a new YouTube channel is obviously you can go all the way through their back content. And I quite like the channels. There's one that I watch. I can't remember the name of it now, and I'm not going to embarrass anyone. But if you look at his early videos, they're all scale model builds, and they're actually quite ordinary if you go back like 4 years ago. And then you look at their latest videos, and they're really rather good, which has given me a bit of inspiration, because I was doing a video for, I'll explain all that later on, but I was doing a video for a completely different model, and I'm painting these buttons, and they didn't come out too good. And I just thought, you know what, that's fine, that's okay, you know. And I've always said with my scale models, obviously I look at other people for inspiration, and I look at other people for ideas, you know, looking at what the standard is. But at the bottom line is, what makes me happy is if the model I've just finished is better than the last one I finished, that to me is success. I don't care, you know, if the last model I did was a pile of poop, and this model is just ever so slightly better than a pile of poop, then that's fine. That's an improvement. So Scale Model Muse does another one of those emojis, which I have no idea what they mean. I'm hearing they've got a new emoji out of a pregnant man. Woke Brigade. I've been watching a lot of videos on things, and someone actually said to me I need to go on to GB News as a guest because of a comment I made on a video, and it was something to do with Ricky Gervais has brought a new show out on Netflix, which I watched, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. And Nish Kumar went out and said, "No, it's disgusting," and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, hang on, like, has anybody actually ever stopped to ask the people who it's aimed at? You know, if I say something against a black person, and a white person goes, "Oh, that's disgusting." No, are you really qualified to say that? So anyway, that's just way off topic. You know, I try to avoid politics. Politics and religion, they're the biggest cause of arguments. So Scale Model News, you may have issues with YouTube. Do you know what I did? I did a little coming next week video for a future project, and I thought at the time it was the weirdest copyright, as it come up copyright issues. And if I'm ever not sure, what I do is I upload videos as an unlisted video, give it 5-10 minutes, and then I'll see if there's any copyrights come up. So this copyright issue came up, and it said you can't monetize. This video will not be shown in Canada, and lots of other stuff. So I took the video down and I remade it with different music, and it come up and it still said copyright. And I thought, what's going on? And I've never seen this before. It's a visual copyright. I took a little clip from a documentary and I used that as the intro. And they actually got me on the copyright on the visual, not on the music. So, but it turns out the edit that I made is better than the original anyway, so I'm keeping it. My channel's not big enough to monetize anyway, so it really doesn't matter. And when you get this copyright, it actually brings up statistics and analytics for your channel. Apparently I have nobody watch from Canada anyway, so no one's gonna miss anything. John Alex scale model, hello all in chat. I'm trying to rush through the chat just a little bit because I have to do a very important shout out, and I made a promise, and all those that know me know that I really tried to keep my promises. So I'm trying to get this shout out done before this person becomes bored and switches off. So Love Minnie says, Penny is on. Sorry, I say Love Minis, but that one's Love Mins. Smith Speed, thought you would have used Hoots Mon. There's a, oh, do you know what? If only I thought of that. Hoots Mon, there's a penny loose about this hoose. I don't know, is that offensive, you know, on the subject of Woke Brigade? So, yeah. Loveman says, today has gone well for me either. Yeah, I think we have days like that. I work hard and I look forward to my days off. And then when you get to your day off and you just, you know, it's a bit disappointing, isn't it? So Chris Creates says, thanks, Penny. Not a problem. You know, I will either say it's good or I won't say anything, or in private, I'll send you a little message going, Chris, your channel is bloody awful. I ain't watching that. So I haven't, so I don't hate it. So Scale Model Muse says it's a wave, Penny. LOL, fair enough. Right, so I need to do a shout out to a young lad called Joseph. Joseph and his mother are passengers on my 26 service. They live at the terminus end. And I promised them a shout out on the next video that I made. I released a video earlier this week, and they said, oh, you promised us a shout out. And I did. I had promised a shout out on the next video that I made. But unfortunately, I'd already made that video before I promised a shout out. I did film something today, but that is going to go out God knows when, and I'll explain that. I keep saying I'll explain it in a bit. So this is technically the first video I'm making since I made that promise. So Joseph, hello to you. If everybody in the chat could say, hello, Joseph, in a big capital letters, I'm pretty sure that'd make his day. Now, I asked Joseph what he likes. As you know, I'm filming the F-14 at the moment, which is not going well. And I asked you guys, I think it was last month, what you'd like to see next. And you pretty much went for the Mosquito. So that is coming after the F-14. Now, Joseph told me he wasn't specific on what he wanted or what he liked, but he did say he likes Royal Navy. So after the Mosquito, I don't know when it's going to come out, but I absolutely promise you, after the Mosquito, we are going to be doing a Royal Navy aircraft in 1:48 scale. So we have Scale Model Muse says, hi, hey, Joe. Smith B says, hello, Joseph. So that's my obligations done. Right, so on the subject of the F-14, when I started the F-14, it's my first scale model build on camera. And I think doing it on camera is a little bit different from doing it off camera. And I've kind of been playing with ways to do it. The F-14s at the moment are coming out as a non-talky video. I'm filming like loads and loads of footage, and then I'm cutting it all, and it takes about an hour or so to cut. And some of the videos I like, and some of the videos I don't like, and that's how it is. At some point, you're going to see a change, and what's going to happen is I'm going more for the approach of I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do, then I'm going to do it, and then when I'm actually doing it and not talking, that's going to be speeded up with a bit of music in the background. Christ, it is really hot today. My house is a bit odd. I say odd. The sun comes up from the kitchen side, So it's always cold in here in the morning, but it lands back that way, and it's really hot in here. I've always shut the curtains, but anyway, so yeah, so unfortunately what also happened, I don't know if I've shown you this, but let me try and change my camera. Right, please excuse the mess on my desk. So I need to do a disclaimer. This video is, you know what I'm like with these live videos, they're often more than an hour. I'm a smoker. You may catch me smoking on the stream. If that offends you, I'm really sorry. Just switch off. You know, I'm in my home. So this is the F14 as it is at the moment. So this is a bit of a sneaky peek. Now I tried to do this grey and white bit, and as you see, it came out horrible. The masking was terrible, and then on this side it's even worse. And what you probably can't spot, unless maybe you do that, that doesn't even nearly line up. And as a result, I completely lost my mojo on this, and I haven't even touched this for about a month. Thankfully, I was about 6 or 7 videos ahead. So, you know, all that's happening is that instead of being 6 or 7 videos ahead, I'm now about 4 videos ahead. So, and I've been working a lot on my Sky Radar. I've been doing quite a lot of work to it. This is a really, really handy project, because if you've got time to do a little bit of modeling, but not really enough time to film, this is a little project you can do. I actually did. I have a little chit chat with my friend every now and again, and she always says to me, "Oh," because I end up doing stuff as I'm on the Facebook chat with her, and she always says, "Oh, I have my own private little stream." Apart from doing this as a little side thing, it also gives me the opportunity to practice ideas. And while I was practicing, I'll go back to this camera again, was this masking again. And I am really, really happy with that, because I think first and foremost, what I did was I laid the paint and the primer and the paint down, and I slapped the masking tape on, and I didn't let it cure. I let it dry, but I didn't let it cure. So of course, when I ripped all the masking tape off, it all came out all funny. So I did primer on it, and I masked it the next day. And this is the process of about 3 or 4 days work. And I'm really happy with that. So then what I was thinking of doing with this is I was thinking about making a video, focus somewhere else on the F14, and we'll just go over that with black primer. And then the next video, we'll mask it off. And I'm just going to purely work on one side. Because here's one, you might laugh at me because these are really simple fundamentals that I'm discovering. I discovered that this masking tape isn't as thick as you would think. So what I'm thinking is, if I work on this side, and then when you put masking tape over it, can you see that you can see the paintwork underneath? So I can put masking tape on it, then I can trace the line, then I can flip it in reverse and then make a piece of masking tape to go on the other side. And then I just thought, do you know what? I don't even need to do all of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring that black primer down, and then I'm going to do the grey, and then I'm going to bring the white up, and then we'll do the white properly. Then obviously I'll do the same on the other side. So I'm beginning to get a little bit of mojo back. And I've also, while I've not been working on the F14, I've been working on the Mosquito. Would you like a sneaky peek? I know you're all going to say yes, aren't you? But there might be people out there that go, no, I don't want streamers. No, you won't say streamers. You'll go, no, I don't want spoilers even. So yeah, that's where we're getting to on the F14 now. Filming the Mosquito has taught me one thing, which is, well, there's two things. Another channel I watch a lot of is Nigel's Modeling Bench. Absolutely love it. If you've not heard of him, do a search on Nigel's Modeling Bench. I'm going to be brutally honest. He's not the perfect modeler in the sense that he kind of puts you off things. He knows so much about models that he can quite easily sit there and go, well, that's not right. And sometimes you might get caught up in this, well, I don't want to do that model now. But I like his format of videos. He does a video every week for about an hour. But I personally like to show you absolutely everything I do. But so it's kind of a combination. You know how YouTube works. You see someone, you like their channel, you like the way they do things, but you want to put a little bit of yourself in. And that's basically what I've done. So I've taken a lot of inspiration from not just Nigel's Modeling Bench, but a lot of other videos. So, and what I've done is I've taken small chunks. You know, I'm aiming to make a video about an hour, but really doesn't hurt if you end up with a half an hour video. So with the Mosquito, I'm trying to do three sections at a time. Some sections are a bit easy. So while I'm waiting for people, I'm just going to give people a chance to say, no, do not show that model. So we've got the hellos, P40F20. A big shout out to P40F20. He really helps me out so much. When I want ideas or I want opinions or something, I've got brilliant friends. Don't think I'm knocking my friends, but a lot of my friends will go, oh yeah, that's really good. And that's not always what you want to hear. P40F20, and it's just going to sound bad, but I mean it really good. P40F20 is not frightened to say, yeah, that's terrible, and you need to do this, you need to do that. Love Minis is another one like that. They're not frightened to tell me the bad things, and that's why I appreciate their opinions on things. And I remember sort of running to him a couple of weeks ago and going, oh, the F14's gone all wrong. And then he persuaded me to buy a product that probably wasn't the best, but actually it's good. It's a good product, but not for the purposes I wanted it. So Love Mini says, hello, Joseph. Then he says, not sure how or why YouTube has messed up my name. Listen, YouTube is YouTube. You know, if we spend all day trying to figure it out, we won't get any videos done, would we? So Model Making Trucker, Evening All. Now I'm going to have to remember that name because I've got a model I might need help with. Scale Model Muse. I managed to do some primer today. Posted a short. Nice. I'll check that out. I don't know if you can post links as a viewer, but if you would like to do one channel link, obviously I'm happy to promote other people, but what I don't want is people sit there going, yeah, check out my channel, blah 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 blah, da, 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 do this. You know, it kind of distracts what it's about. But if you can't post that link, I will repost the link for you if you want to, but I will quite happily. It's kind of called the laws of common sense and fairness. So yeah, all you scale modelers, if you want to just have a little tiny promote, I don't mind. So Scale Model Muse, hey Lewis. Dano's Universe, how are you? He says, hello everyone. Another channel I watched does a couple of good little part work builds. When I watch videos, I'm not necessarily, I mean, as you see, I've not got the most professional channel going, but what I'm always looking for is I want to see passion for the build. There's one YouTuber I tried watching. I'm not going to mention names, you know I don't do that. But he goes, yeah, you put this in there, and then you put this in there, and then you do. And it's like he's doing it as a job, but he doesn't really like his job anymore. you know, whereas I like to see people, oh yeah, look at this way, you know. So anyway, model making trucker. Hi Muse, how are you? Scale model Muse, not too bad, almost time for work. David Bassett said, evening Penny. Hello David Bassett, I think I mentioned you somewhere. It might be one of my pre-recordeds anyway. I know it's to do with Wickham anyway. David Bassett, hi to Love Minis. Model making trucker, bless you, I'm now off for 4 days. Apparently I have to have my wedding anniversary. Oh, do you know, it's so inconvenient, isn't it? So time to go and help Nat. I'll watch back later, not a problem. You're always welcome if you just come in for a second or two. Sorry guys, I've just remembered this joke. Some people are going to get upset by this, but I saw something on TikTok today. It really made me laugh. And this guy was going, if you're looking for a starter pet, hamsters make the best. They're so easy. They live for 5 days. You don't even need to feed them or water them. And so, right, P40F20 is saying, let's see the Mozzie, right? So no one's objected to seeing it. So I honestly believe this is going better than the F14. There's a couple of icky bits, but this is my Mozzie. So, I was filming the next episode this morning and I had a bit of trouble with the seat because there's no positive, you know, like here, for example, if you put this in, there's 2 little pegs there and there's 2 little holes and 2 little pegs, right? And you put that in there and you know when it's right or wrong because the pegs are in. With the seat, the way it sits, you're really not sure if it's sat right. So I quickly had to sort of stick all of this on. But I just think, I don't know if it's because it's Tammy or if it's because it's the Mosquito or a combination of the two, but I am really loving this. And one comment I made on the video I recorded today is it's a lot bigger than I thought it would be. I don't recall seeing a Mosquito in real life, and I just thought it'd be a little old thing. But this is what I've done. So yeah, it's all in like this just to make sure that seat dries in the right position. Now, the buttons on there are absolutely awful, but I don't care. But I really enjoyed this so far. The seat is extremely fiddly. There's about 3 parts there, but these, I don't know, that seat just looks odd to me. And then the next problem I've got, and I possibly should have done this before I put the thing together, because I'm not going to put the pilot in, and the pilot kind of has the seat cushion stuck to him. So I've got to make a seat cushion for it. And the dials, can we have a focus, please? There we go. The dials come in the form of a decal. And I just thought, for all the fuss of a decal, I just ended up dry brushing it and then sticking gloss varnish in the circles. Let me see if I can find the decals. I actually tidied up today. So as a result, I can't find anything because that's how my life goes. When everything's in a mess, I know there they are. I know everything's in a certain pile. So yeah, these are the decals for the dials, and these are the dials dry brushed. And I just thought, for the amount of effort that you're going to put in, I think dry brushing has worked better. Plus, it now means I've got a spare decal. So if I noticed when I did the oh right, so do I keep that seat like that then and not put anything in it? I need to put something in because there's a little hole there. Anyway, so yeah, so I've now got a spare set of dials. So like when I did that starter kit Spitfire, it was so devoid of details. There's no dashboard or anything, no dials or anything. So I could probably get that decal and just cut it down a little bit and then stick that on, just sort of fake a few details. But yeah, that's me mozzie after about 3 videos, and I'm rather pleased with it. The next episode I'm going to be doing some panel washing to just pick out, there's quite a lot of detail and it demands to be sort of seen, and the Bombay's looking pretty good. I'm enjoying them, really nice. So right, okay, so I'll just get rid of that little square then, and that'll do the job. Right, so I've been watching you do your plastic models, but being a bit behind lately as I have a new job. That's really good, Dano, if you got a new job. So I've been enjoying them. Gibson, good. You know, I try and sort of share what I know, and then obviously I'm watching other people and I'm picking things up, and I'm learning things about myself, because at the end of the day, I've not scale modeled for 30-40 years. So the skills that I mean, last time I modeled, we'd never heard of the internet. So, you know, so there was not really sort of many people to help me out with tips and stuff. So, you know, the amount I've learned just in the last couple of months compared to sort of 10 years of modeling as a kid. So, right. So there you go. I've just shown myself up already. Look, that's not a seat cushion. People love de Havilland DH98 Mosquito. It's amazing that the prototype still survives and is still displayed in the hangar in which it was built at Salisbury Hill, not far. I love David Bassett, always knows where everything is. So yeah, he is an absolute mine of historical knowledge. So the seat pan should be empty. Penny's pit stop, that's not a seat cushion the pilot sat on, it's his parachute. So 2 people have said it, so it must be true. 100% agree. Right, so yeah, that's the F-14 discussed. Now, tomorrow, my 2nd or 3rd Spitfire modeling on a budget goes out. I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. I am not enjoying it one bit. It's obviously what I'm trying to do is model on a tight budget. So I've got the Airfix Starter Kit, and I'm using paints that I don't normally enjoy using. I'm thinning them with water, so there's no magic ingredients going in. I don't know if I've just not thinned them enough, or it's because it's Humbrol paints that have been sat in a box for months, but the finish isn't coming out very well. So I'm committed to finishing the Spitfire. But like I say, I'm really not enjoying doing it. And if I don't enjoy doing it, I won't put any heart into it, and I will just end up churning out crap videos. So when the Spitfire is done, I'm going to just change it a little bit. It'll still be modeling on a budget. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm only going to buy models that I get cheap. So it'll still be modeling on a budget. But I'll be using all my equipment that I've built up over years. Possibly goes against the modeling on a budget, but like, for example, I have bought, I'm pretty sure I've shown you this. I got this, which is partly built, with this, which is not even started, and I'm pretty sure I paid £18 for them. So these are effectively £9. I have a box full of broken but completed aircraft, which a wonderful guy from one of the IPMS clubs gave to me. And he says, you can do, I put an advert out saying, has anybody got any cheap, nasty, broken kits, blah, 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 whatever, to do my model cheating. And he gave me those, and he said, if you want to cut the wings off and then strip all the paint and you know, repaint it, that's fine, that's up to you. And I looked at some of them, and some of them were really nice. And unfortunately, all it's done is made me want to go out and buy the kits to make them. But yeah, some of them. And of course, I can give more power. I think I'm probably speak for everybody here. If there's a connection to you, you can put more passion into it. So one of the models I'd like to build at some point is the Liberator, because the Liberators were all based in Norfolk during the war. I mean, said when I was a kid, but I'm not that old. So during the war, they're all based at Bungay and all those places. And so, obviously, I like I don't know what my connection with US Navy is, but I like US Navy stuff. But I've got the connection with RAF Lakenheath, so I'll be doing an F111 at some point. I just want to get the decals. I would absolutely love to do a B. I've forgotten their numbers. B-17, not B-17. B. Do you know what? My mind's gone blank. Who dropped the bomb on Hiroshima? That one. They had them based at they had them stopping over at Lakenheath. And if I can get the decals for it, I'm bloody building it. So, yeah, I'm having that. But, yeah, Liberator I'd like to do. And I've seen a Liberator in 1:32 scale. Now, in Norwich, they have the 8th Air Force Wing Memorial section. I used to spend so much time in there as a kid. And I remember someone had made a model, and I just thought, do you know what? If I could do a really good job, do a Liberator in 1:32 scale, I could then take that to Norwich, donate it to the library. They'd probably put it in a nice little glass case, and then lots of people can enjoy it. And I just thought, how fantastic. B-24, of course it is. Do you know what? When your mind just goes blank like that. So let's just catch up on chat. Yes, Penny, the Mozzie is quite a large aircraft. But then again, doesn't it have to be, because it's carrying some bombs? And bombs aren't like pebbles, are they? They weigh a bit. P40F20, it's a vicious cycle. One kit leads to another. B-24 Super Fortress. Paul Tibbetts Indian, that's it. I knew it was the Enola Gay, but I can't remember it's the B-24. B-29, yes, that's right. Because, right, you got the B-17, then you got the B-29, and then you've got the buff. Doesn't match with the numbers, but it almost does, doesn't it? 17, 30, 39, 40. Yeah, because it's B-40, so I just know what. Enola Gay dropped the atom bomb on Hiroshima. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but it's largely argued that the most unlucky man in the world was a Japanese guy who he lived in Hiroshima, and he went to, I've forgotten the name of the place, Nagasaki, is it? He went to Nagasaki on business on the day they dropped the first atom bomb. And he survived. Then he went home to Hiroshima in time to have another bomb dropped on him. But then again, would you not then say he's the luckiest man? Because he had 2 nuclear missiles dropped on him and survived them both. So, yeah. B-52, that's it, yeah, is the buff. Yeah, so once I finish the Spitfire, I'm going to go for cheap kits that I can find, maybe set myself a budget. If you look, I mean, I got some come through the other day. I don't know. This one I got, this was £8 posted, and it's the Sea King in 202 Squadron. And I love that because I've been in the 202 Squadron. The only drawback is they very badly glued one of the windows in. So that window will come out, but I'll see what I can do about that. But yeah, so, and I've got some unstarted kits. I got 2 kits. I got a MiG. I don't know what I've done with it. I must have put it somewhere. I got a MiG. And I think it was the same. I'm pretty sure it's the same MiG that was shot down by, not the actual same MiG, the same mark as this, because this Sky Raider was the one that shot down the MiG in the Vietnam War, which is obviously a great story because this is a slow old propeller-driven aeroplane that's shot down a jet. I'm pretty sure that the MiG I bought for about 10 quid, including postage. I'm pretty sure it's the same type of MiG. So yes, anyway, a future project. I've been looking into this. Oh, do you like my new printer, by the way? I now own a color laser printer. I'm on a Facebook group called Things for Free in the area that I live in. Someone had posted on there, free just needs a cable, color laser printer. I've always wanted a color laser printer, and I looked on it and I was too late. Someone said I'll have that, so I just posted on it. If it doesn't go, can I have it? A couple of days later I got this message, and I'm like, yeah, the person didn't come and get it, you can have it. I'm like, yes, I'll be round tomorrow. So I went round. It's really, really heavy, but it's great, and it even does double sides. I was printing something off, and it's great. This bit of paper comes out, and then you go to grab it, it just sucks the paper back in, turns it around, and then spits it out. So it's a new toy for me. I've never had a colour laser. But if you want to know about a project that I'm working on, I did actually mention this to P40, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to leave it as a surprise. I found this book. It's called Assembly Ships. Did I mention this last month? But it's Assembly Ships. Now, I have found a decal sheet. There we are. For that aeroplane. That's a B-17 assembly ship. Now, the story of the assembly ships, I think, is absolutely brilliant. So, they're also called, I bet you P40 F20 knows this because he knows everything. So, assembly ships are also nicknamed Judas goats. Now, what they do, obviously, if you think about it, right, you've got this bombing run on Germany during World War II, and you're sending over hundreds and hundreds of airplanes in one mission. Right? That can get quite chaotic, can't it? So they have these brightly coloured aircraft which go up, and then between your wing leader and the assembly ship, you all line up. And then once you're all lined up, this assembly ship goes and lands again. And then off you go on your mission, and then hopefully you come back. Now, they're nicknamed Judas goats because apparently goat farmers, when they took their goats to slaughter, they would have a trained goat. They would walk with this goat, and all the goats would follow. All the goats would go into the slaughterhouse, and obviously this trained goat that would go back to the farm with the farmer, ready for the next batch. So they're called Judas goats. But I just love the concept. Yeah, it's just, you hear all these wonderful stories. This guy won the Victoria Cross because he ran through 400 German posts and took them all out, and you don't really always hear about these little things. There you go. I knew P40 would say. It's why I love chatting with P40 F20. You think you've got every bit of information you can get, and then you have a chat with him. You're like, oh, I didn't know that. So the Japanese guy lived to be 93. So yeah, he's pretty lucky. Oh, I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. I can't really say. I can't agree that you're lucky if you have 2 nuclear bombs in your hometown. Only thing sad is if you go to shop and they don't have anything new. Yeah. Do you know what? I live near Glasgow. Glasgow is the biggest city in Scotland, bigger than Edinburgh apparently. I only found that out the other day. There's a model shop which was recommended for me to go to, and there's nothing there. Hardly anything there. It's like the guy specializes in radio controlled cars, and he's winding down his shop. And he's got lots and lots of old second-hand kits. There was couple of old matchboxes that I was thinking of getting. But see, matchboxes are worth money. But I'm thinking, I don't do scale models because they're worth money. I do scale models because I want to do that aircraft. So, but it's got about, in various sizes and makes and models, he's got about 8 Titanics. I don't know how he ended up with all these Titanics, but it's a nice little shop. I mean, I got, I will be doing a video on these, but I make my own cleaner and stuff now. And I said to him, I said, the problem I've got is these bottles are brilliant, but when they all shoots out the top. And he says, well, what about a fuel pipe for a scale, for a radio control car? So I bought this bit of pipe, cut a length off, absolutely brilliant. So, you know, the guy knows what he's talking about. David Bassett, I bought the Airfix Seeking years ago. It was the one that recovered the astronauts from the Apollo 11. I think that is actually a model from someone, isn't it? The Apollo 11 one. So 11 minis, new laser printer. Oh my gosh. And do you know what? I think that laser printer, I checked the company that I buy my inkjet cartridges from. I checked out the price of the cartridges. Now, when I buy cartridges, there's a particular company, I'm on their mailing list, and about 3 or 4 times a year, they have a flash sale. It's about 20% off. So then I usually buy. So as you can see here, I have an abundance of replacement cartridges just because I buy them when they come out. Now, to replace all 4 of these toner cartridges is £100. If they then have 20% sale, I should have switched that off. On, switch it off. Right, if they have a 20% sale, that's obviously 80 quid, so it's 20 quid a cartridge. All right, that's a lot of money, but these are rated at about, they have a weird rating system. These apparently will print 50 pages or something, 500 pages, sorry. Yeah, I think it's 500 pages. Now, one page is based on like a 1-inch square or something in the bottom of the paper. If you printed a 1-inch black square, you would print 500 pages before it ran out. It's all worked out on the basis that if you had a whole page of text, it would average about one inch or something like that. Now, these toner cartridges are rated at 2,500 pages per toner cartridge. So they're about 4 to 5 times more expensive as my ink cartridges, but they do 5 times more pages. So if anything, they're either the same or cheaper than inkjet. Oh God. Scale Model Muse says that shop sounds like one of mine. Oh God, I hope it isn't. I really hope it isn't. Did you have a weirdo come in your shop about a month ago and we sat there chatting for ages? In which case it's you. I'm glad I didn't say horrible shop, just in case it is you. So, assembly ships were war-weary bombers that were no longer useful for combat. Yeah, I guess that's what they were. Now, what I like about my particular assembly ship, it's a decal sheet that I found, but a lot of the assembly ships have been stripped down. Oh, that's right. I'm off the hook now. Then some Scale Model Muses in the States. That's all right. So my particular aircraft still has the top and the ball turret on it, and they've got to be painted in the original aircraft colors. So I think the top one is silver, and then the bottom one is olive drab, and then the rest of the aircraft is painted white with blue dots on it. So it's got a little bit more, and it's just that little bit of character then, isn't it? So P-40, they were used to help the bombers form up before proceeding on their mission. Exactly. So when you think about it, you know, I know these pilots were doing things that we can't even think about. And it's like with the Mosquito, I was watching a documentary on the Mosquito, and they navigated at high speed, low altitude, purely by landmark, and that's it. And we're talking landmarks like the hill with the funny shape at the top, that kind of landmark. Not there's a street sign going, yeah, Berlin, 20 miles that way. And they're doing this all at high speed, low altitude, in the middle of the dark. So we know they do stupid stuff really well. But how do you organize? I mean, is there any school teachers here? Has anybody tried organizing school kids on a fire alarm test? You know, can you imagine forming up, you know, loads and loads of aircraft? So it kind of makes sense. So yeah, so that shop sounds like one of mine. Yeah, my shop has radio control cars and just 2 short set cells of models, which is fine. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I know not everyone likes this company, but I really like MJR. And the reason I like MJR is they do this. I know some other shops do it, but they do a nice little savings plan. And I send him £10 a week. And I think I'm about 4 weeks away from buying this B17. And it's great. I don't miss a tenner a week. Even when I'm short of money, I don't really miss a tenner. It's basically like dinner money for a couple of days. So I have a standing order in every payday. £10 goes out of my account straight to him. He then sends me a message on Facebook saying, "Hi Benny, received your money, your new balance is such and such." And I've actually ordered this B17. I mean, I know I've mentioned him before. He does actually do like a small amount of credit. So you can buy a model and pay him over 2 months. But I'm one of these that things happen to me, so I'd rather pay up front. So, you know, and I have on one, I think I did start it up. I think I was a bit ambitious to start with. I was paying him like £25 a week. And I think on the 2nd or 3rd week, I didn't have the money and I couldn't pay him. And I thought, what if I'd been paying credit? You'd get arsey with me now for not paying you. So, and to be honest with you, once you've got 400 builds boxes on your shelf, how desperate are you for a new model? I've got about 4 models to build before I start on the B17. Oh, Paul J. Lewis, how are you? Bit late, but here now. That's fine. I do know that Paul, I keep calling him Paulism. Paul ISM was streaming, and so I expect people to prioritize him over me because he's a bigger channel and he's been going longer. And if I wasn't doing my stream, I'd be watching him as well. Paul J. Lewis, he always says hello to me on Paul ISM stream, and I don't know if this is normal, but when I'm on the PC, I can type @P and then it comes up with Paul J. Lewis's name. When I'm on my mobile phone, I mean, I might be driving, but when I do it doesn't come up with a name automatically. So I always try and make a point of saying hello back to people who say hello to me. But so I just end up going, "Hi, Paul." If I'm able to. Obviously, if I'm driving, I'm not going to touch the phone. So don't ever be offended if I don't say hello back. So was in the States. That's good. 500 pages. Wow. Is that good? Is that good? I think it's 500 pages. I can't remember anyway. Wow, that is a lot of pages. So scale model, same way birds do it. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that makes sense. It's one of those things where you don't think about it. You don't really realize it, do you? So Paul J. Lewis is height scale model news, and scale model news says, "Hey, yeah, Paul." Right, so yes, so F-14 followed by the Mozzie, followed by a Royal Navy build. Saturday, I'm going to be finishing the Spitfire off, and once I've done that Spitfire, I'm just changing the dynamics slightly. I'm going to be building in a normal way, but I'm going to be doing cheap kits. So I'm going to be on the hunt and buying really cheap stuff, maybe second-hand, maybe stuff that needs repair, maybe stuff that's part built, but just, stuff that I don't have to spend a lot of money on. So just trying to change in the dynamics to say you don't have to spend a lot of money on a kit. Now Mondays, Sunday. On Sunday, it's a bit of a funny one. The model tips, it was kind of designed to go from stage 0 to stage whatever. And two things happened. Firstly, you get to a point where you're like, well, I've got to do that. But before you do that, you've got to know that. But then to do that, you've got to know that. And which one do you do? So I thought, I'll just do. And then someone come up to me and said, I am interested in doing an airbrush, but it seems an awful lot of money for something that may not be practical for me. So I said, okay, I'll tell you what I'll do then. It's all going to get covered eventually. The whole of June, which is only four Sundays, is going to be all about airbrushes. So this Sunday, we're going to be doing a quick overview on airbrushes. Then next week, it'll be priming with an airbrush. The next week will be painting. And the week after will be cleaning an airbrush. And then hopefully, for those of you that don't own an airbrush and is thinking about an airbrush, hopefully I will give you enough information on whether it's worth you getting an airbrush. And I have just found a superb cheap airbrush. I was kind of saying, I want to buy this airbrush. It's about 300 quid, but it looks really, really good. And then Paul ISM said, yeah, we do this. Is it Apex it's called? And it's pretty much, it's a really good airbrush. I haven't used it, so I can't verify it's really good. But it's so many people who I respect is recommending it. So for £100, can't go wrong, can you? John Alex Scale Modeling says, looking forward to that series painting, always learning on an airbrush. Do you know what? It's funny that I totally agree with that, always learning on an airbrush, because I've been using airbrushes now for on and off for about 2 or 3 years. I have two. I have an Iwata something or another. It came with an intermediate starter set with Element Games, and it was about 250 quid with the compressor. And I've got I'll call it a £15 Chinese airbrush. It was actually a tenner, but you won't get them for less than 15 now. And until about 6 months ago, I didn't really notice the difference between the two. But now that my skill level is increasing a little bit, I'm now starting to notice the difference. This is why I'm now starting to look at a top-end airbrush. And my personal opinion is you don't want to be going out and spending £300-400 on an airbrush as your first airbrush. And to be honest with you, if you spent £15 on an airbrush and then got a car tyre and connected the airbrush up to a car tyre, you know, that's got to be a really good starting point, hasn't it? You have so little money to lose if it doesn't work out. But yeah, so it's all going to be about airbrushes, mainly because someone came to me and said, this is what I'd like you to do. So if anybody else comes to me and says, oh, I think you should cover this next, and I think someone already has, I think it was you, Love Minis, you sent me a message, and I really want to do, it's actually not skills video. It's a couple of questions she asked was about motivation was one. And I thought, actually, that is really important, motivation, because especially as I'd hit a point where I'd completely lost my mojo, and I had a choice. You either get your mojo back or your channel dies. And just getting back, having about 9 months off after being really depressed and down about things, and thinking that what everybody else says is far more important, and you know how your head goes, and basically being in a really dark place for a few months. So I've just got my channel back going, and I've some new subscribers have come in, which have given me a bit of a lease of life, and you know, the feedback I'm getting. But yeah, so that's the model tips. That's going fine. Monday is the fire truck. Now, I'm going through a funny stage on the fire truck at the moment. Issue 19 has just come out, and issue 19 took up the whole video. I think prior to that, I'd kind of got a little bit obsessed with trying to do so many issues per week. We're getting like seven or 8 issues per pack. So I'm trying to do a minimum of 2 a week so that I can get ahead. And then I'm just all of a sudden just suddenly realized, no, it's not about getting ahead. It's getting about doing a little bit that you're comfortable with and always being excited about the next issue. And I think I was also starting to get to the point where I was going, that's finished. Oh, no more fire truck for a month. That's got to be wrong, isn't it? You know, if you're doing it because you got want to get it done, that's, yeah, I think this last few weeks, my attitude has changed to that on a lot of things. My Sky Raider, I haven't picked it up for about 2 weeks, and that's fine. It's sitting there waiting for me when I want to do it, and I'll pick it up when I'm really in the mood to do it, and I'm in the mood to do a good job. So yeah, so the fire truck is the next three issues going to be single issues. Then I think we managed to squeeze a double one in, and then suddenly the next pack came along, and I just did two parts per video because it was really simple. In fact, I thought I did more than that. I thought I did the whole pack in 2 videos. I did. Yeah. So you've got 19, then you got 20, then you got 21, then you got 22 and 23, then you got 24. That's a big one. 25 is a big one. Then you've got 26, 27, 28, 29, and 35 issues in one video. Then you've got 4 issues in one video. Then you've got 3. And I spread it out. I actually held it back. I could have done more because suddenly you've got a lot of easy issues. But with the fire truck, what I'm finding is you're getting sub-assemblies. And I have noticed some YouTubers on other builds, they're complaining about things being a collection of parts. And I know I've said this before, but collection of parts, don't we just call that sub-assemblies in scale models and a model builds? So yeah, sub-assemblies it's the way, it's life, isn't it? You've got to get this bit and then you put them all onto one bit. And also bits like chassis, they tend to be a little bit more stuff for your buck. They're not going to give the big expensive parts away on the early issues. They're going to wait till you've collected a few issues so that you hit the point where you can't stop now. You know, it's like with the Route Master. I know with the Spitfire, I think they were crazy to do the diorama last. I think they should have spread that out throughout the build because so many people are cancelled after issue 100. You know, so anyway, that's changing the subject. So I've just paid for the new fire truck. Last week it took about 2 weeks to come through, but I'm all sorted out for videos on that till the end of July. So there's really no rush to do that. The Eddie Stobart on a Wednesday is going very well. Wednesday, yes. So I filmed 3 episodes or so many issues last week, and I stopped at 22 because that was the start of the engine. I admit I cheated. I've been watching other people's videos, so I know where the engine starts and stops. Now, I got to Wednesday, the last Wednesday, saw the video. I mean, this is all explained in my video, but I saw my video. I saw my video come out, and I thought, oh no, I ain't got my issues yet for next week, so I might only end up doing issue 22. So then I'm sitting there on the Friday, and I thought, I'm going to have to film. I'm going to have to film it just issue 22. And also what I'd done was I'd rung them up. They'd always said to me right from the start, if you want to play catch up, just send us the payment. We'll send you the extra packs. But normally between payment and or processing date and receipt is about 2 weeks. So I wasn't worried about the others. I knew they'd come. All of a sudden I get a knock at the door. It's the postman. He's brought me 12 issues of Eddie Stobart. So I must confess I did fill them all in the day, but I really wanted to get stuck in with that engine. So I've got the triple episode has just come out, another triple episode coming out next week, then a triple episode the week after, then it drops down to 2 double issues, and then by the time they come out I should have the next parts. So I want to get slightly too far ahead, because I'm looking at that engine and it's just screaming out to me detail. And I know the Eddie Stobart is a kept clean, but I don't think the engine would be spotless. And I just want to put in, not to dirty the engine, but just enough just to sort of highlight some detail. So I might just do a 1 week where I won't be building anything. I'll just get in there with the oil paints, and we'll do some oil washes. But before I let myself loose on the oil paints, I want to practice on something first. So my theory is it'll be nice and easy because it's all been painted with gloss, and oil runs really well on gloss paint. So right, so let's do some catching up. Looking forward to that series always. Right. It would take something extraordinarily special for you to offend me, Paul. Yeah, do you know what? I think if you watch Paul ISM's channel, he could offend a lesser person 15 times per stream, couldn't he? So I think if you're a repeat watcher of his channel, you're not someone who gets offended. It's quite funny on the Zoom chats. He's kind of apologized to me a couple of times, and I'm like, well, what are you apologizing for? If you offend me, I'll tell you. Yeah. So besides, I'd rather you ignore me than get busted for using your mobile phone while driving. It's just that driving is my job as well, so I do take it seriously. I don't want points on my license, especially as my job is changing very soon. Right, so later all, time to get ready for work. Paul Lewis says hello again at John Alex Scale Modeling. Later's at Scale Model News. Take care, Hon. Hi, PJ at PJ Lewis. Love Minnie's leftover parts. John says you have a great setup there, Penny. Jealous. Thank you. I had a week off on holiday. I got all my wood and everything. There's a few little things I want to do, but I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. I've just run out of money. Money is really, really tight, and probably telling you more than I need to tell you, but I'm going through a debt payoff thingy plan, and it's absolutely fantastic. Basically, I pay an amount every month to pay off all my debts, and after a certain length of time all my debts get written off, which is fantastic. The only problem is I wasn't paying anything off my debts because I couldn't afford to. Now I'm paying this debt company, so my outgoings have actually gone up because I'm now paying this debt reduction plan. So it's double-edged sword. I'm getting my debt sorted out, but it's now cost me more money. So it's a bit of a struggle. So when this new job finally kicks in, I'm trying to do Flixbus, which is like National Express, Megabus, Greyhound. Trying to think of some other examples. It's a cross between long distance coaches and service bus. It's going from here to a long way away with about 3 or 4 stops in on the way. And it's more hours. It's actually more hours with more time off. because you get blocks of like 4 days off in a week, because you're doing 12 hours a day, but you're doing double manning. So you're not doing 12 hours a day. You're actually doing about you're 12 hours in the coach, but you're only about 6 hours behind the wheel. And it's just, having done it on my last job, I absolutely loved it. And I just realized that I'm now 50 years old and I finally found my dream job, my absolute perfect job. So, but yeah, so I've run out of money. So once I get a bit more sorted out, I'll be able to get things sorted out. I need to paint this because I love everything purple. I want to put a folding just here. I want to put a folding shelf. I don't want the shelf to come down here, but like I've got my air compressor here, and when I finished airbrushing, I'll put it all away, and I want to keep the desk tidy. I'm really not very successful at that at the moment, but it's just like when I do my part works, the box comes out. I can put the box there. I'll make the couple of drawers there. It's going to be some shelves. These drawers, they do a paint rack, paint drawer version. So they're going in there, and as I buy more paints, they will slowly, I think each set of drawers will hold like 90 paints or something like that. So obviously as I buy 500 paints between now and the next however many years, I can just build that up. And then there'll be some shelving go in the back so that I can put, I'll have one shelf maybe for some subject of what I'm building on for that particular video. And then just before I do a video, I'll take those bits off the shelf and I'll put, so if I'm doing the Spitfire, I'll put the Spitfire on a shelf and then I can build. And then the next video might be the Eddie Stobart. So I'll put the Eddie Stobart on in the background. And I'll just try and sort of make it a bit scenic and a bit relevant. So that is it. I'm also, I know if you're watching this because you're into model building, this won't interest you at all, but I really want to get back into the diamond painting, but it's having the time. And my plan in theory is that once I start doing this coaching, I will be able to do it on the coach, obviously not while I'm driving, and then I'll have a few hours in the hotel and I'll come back the next day. So I might be able to get that up and running. And I'm just, it's something a little bit different. It's not scale models, it's not part works, and it's just something that, again, I think primarily what I'm all about is having nothing and finishing with something. So whether that be making my desk, putting together a scale model, whether you call that modeling or construction, that's up to you. Part works, yes, people are right in that part works are just screwdriver. I wouldn't say it takes less skill than scale models. I think it takes different skills. So yeah, it's just I like doing things, and I have to be occupied. When I went through my depressive moment, even today, when I have no motivation, I just do absolutely nothing. And now I know tomorrow I will be depressed because I did nothing with my day off. Right, love minis, all I'm going to say to that, I have worked 12 hours a day, 14 days in a row, then 1 day off, never got anything done at home. You are nuts. Yeah, when I was a younger bus driver, we actually, there's a law that everyone is not allowed to work more than 14 days, 13 days max. That's law. But a lot of people don't know that, but it's most certainly bus driver law. You can only work maximum of 13 days straight. And what I and a lot of bus drivers used to do was we used to work 13 days straight, and we would have every other Sunday off. And I couldn't work out why after 6 months I would just get completely exhausted. I would get burnt out, and I would end up sticking my fingers up at my employer and walking out because I've had enough. And it's just because I was so tired. Now, the job I do now, I work 5 days and I refuse to do more than 5. Might occasionally do a 6th day, but generally I'll do 5 days. The job I'm about to do, because we're going to be using tachograph cards, the laws are a little bit different. So I'm protected by maximum working time, maximum amount of driving I can do in the day, and the minimum amount of rest, both on a daily basis and on a weekly basis. And I have to have a 45-hour period off every week, which can be reduced to 24 hours. So I cannot work 7 days in 1 week. I cannot work 7 days on the trot. And it's all on a roll. I also can't work, I think I'm trying to brush up on my tacho laws now. I think I cannot drive for more than 90 hours in a fortnight. So if, for example, if I did 60 hours driving in 1 week, I cannot by law drive more than 30 the next week. So you have to keep an eye on what you're doing, and your employer does as well, because if you get caught and fined, apparently your employer gets fined as well. So it's just makes it more in their interest to make sure your shifts are proper. And they do. A lot of companies will come down on you if you're working too much. So it is good. Obviously, if you're one of these workaholics and you want to work every hour, tacho work obviously isn't for you. But driving for so long, it's tiresome. And then at the moment, our service buses, we've got a lot of drivers off. So we're obviously, if you've got a bus off in front of you, you're now doing twice the work, and then you've got irate customers, and it just makes the job so much harder. You try to deal with it, but it wears you down. So Paul J. Lewis, the only time my bench modeling room gets tidied is between builds, clean deck for a new build type of thing. Yeah, that's how it's been going for me. What I found is, for me personally, I don't like to build before 8 in the morning, because my lodger goes to work at 8, and I like to be finished by 6 because he normally comes home at 6. But where I get up about 5 or 6 every morning, obviously my body wants to get up at 6. So what I tend to do is I will get up at 6 o'clock and I'll have a bit of a tidy. And then I start building, and you wouldn't believe it, but this desk was tidy this morning. I know you can't see it, and it's going to stay that way, because if you saw my desk, you would be horrified. But it was tidy this morning at about 8 o'clock this morning, and then the mess has just built up, and it will probably stay that way until my next day off, and then I'll have a tidy up in the morning. The main thing really is where I'm kind of researching various kits, and I'm looking at the instructions. So I've got about 5 boxes of kits open. So there's me Mosquito with bits all over the place. And then I've got this one I'm looking at the moment, the Airfix Chipmunk. And now I've just dropped some papers on the floor, and then I've got the box there with the F14, and these boxes aren't little. And then I've got Sky Raider box, and I've got the Sea Harrier instructions, and it's just, yeah, it goes insane. And then I've got about 6 builds I want to build. 6 builds are shouting at me going, no, do me next. And there's a couple of US Navy builds I want to pick up. And but what I've been doing, so obviously I haven't got a lot. I say obviously, this is because I've only been buying paints recently. Did I tell you I'm new back to modelling? This is almost my entire Tamiya collection, which I'm trying to phase out because I like AK Interactive. I don't care if anyone else doesn't. this is my entire AK Interactive collection, and that's pretty much my entire paint collection with the exception of a few. I buy these for metallics. This is the Vallejo metal color. I just think they're so lovely to work with. And I bought these varnishes because the online shop had them when I needed varnish. And I don't like buying 17mm varnishes. They're just the pots, right? It's pots that you'll use a lot. And I'm getting on really well with these, actually, these Vallejo Mecha varnish. I know someone's going to jump in and go, oh, try such and such varnish. But I'm getting on rather well with them. And I find that I don't look at paint ranges on the whole. I look at that particular range. So I'm not... Vallejo model color isn't my favorite paints anymore. I love the bottles. I do love dropper bottles. But these metal colors I want the whole range of these. And dark stars. I do love the dark stars. But I think dark stars are a little bit better for figure painting. Whereas these are a little bit better for aircraft, and they're really, really thin, but the coverage is really good. So I remember the first time I used them, I brush painted with them, and probably out of habit, I just thinned them, and they're already like water, and I thinned them half water, half paint, half thinner, and I painted, and I thought, oh God, what have I done? And I painted with them, and I went, wow, the coverage is fantastic. I mean, I'm a too thin coats person anyway. My first things that I painted with was Warhammer. So you'll find most people with who've done Warhammer has the Duncan Rhodes too thin coats ethos. So yeah, I do like too thin coats. Or if I'm airbrushing, I'm a bit of a fan of 5 or 6 thin coats. You'll see when this comes out. This I think can't really see it because of the color of it and the darkness, but that's about 6 or 7 really thin coats. And when I was doing the white on the grey, on the F-14, that was, I don't think I'm exaggerating if I said it's 1 million thin coats. It was so long, hardly any coverage. Next coat. But, sometimes you've just got to paint and be really patient with it. So where are we up to? Clean deck for new build type of thing. Down south, a lot of missing drivers in Aylesbury and Wickham. Aylesbury were losing drivers years ago. Both Red Eagle, Red Rose are cutting journeys. I used to work, I worked for... I've forgotten the name of the company. Red Eagle, Red Rose, and the other company, ultimately they're the same. I think they're owned by relatives, but they're essentially the same group. And I worked for Red. I've forgotten who I worked for now, and I absolutely loved that job. And it's probably the only job I will ever go back to if the opportunity required it. But yeah, if they're cutting journeys, mothball several routes. In Wickham, Carousel cutting route 103 and half. Carousel used to take on a lot of agency. I thought about going with them with agency. But at the time I was thinking, you've got the insecurity. Love Minis, I'm glad you're using your airbrush booth again. Yeah, my airbrush booth at the moment consists of a cardboard box. And if I think I'm not doing a lot of... I'm really naughty. If I'm not doing a lot of painting, or I think I'm not doing a lot of painting, that's my airbrush booth. I put a bit of kitchen roll down and I paint on that. But, I'm using... If I was doing sort of airbrush painting 8 hours a day, whether I was using acrylics or... if I use lacquers or enamels, I would never do that without a proper booth. But acrylics, if you was doing it sort of 8 hours a day, 5-6 days a week, then... yeah, definitely. And I with having asthma, I do notice the difference when I do a lot of airbrushing. So I don't care what you do, you're going to breathe a little bit in. So Love Mini says, we have a Dark Star here in the States now. But yeah, the company Dark Star do like their paints, but one tip I'll give you for free: don't ever thin them with water. We remember Love Minis when I did that. I got some Dark Stars and I thought, yeah, I'll give them a try. I'll try anything once or twice. I learned give things 3 attempts, because if you look at wall paints are completely different. They're gel based, they're water based, but they're gel. They've got a gel medium in them, and they're very transparent, and they're more of a glaze than a paint. A lot of people try them and they go, oh, they're useless. And I found that if I use them 2 or 3 times, I then discover they're useless because you're painting them with them like paint. I can't imagine a single scale modeler ever using war paints. But when you're doing figures and you want these gentle color transitions, and I'm talking like from yellow to red going through the orange spectrum, they are absolutely amazing paints to use. But yeah, they're great. But the Dark Stars, the first time I used them, I thinned them and it was awful. It really was terrible. And I think I read somewhere, use thinners. So you want to use an alcohol based thinner, and all of a sudden they become one of the best paints you've ever painted with, and they're wonderful. Right, so I've got very little left to update you on. Me Fiat, you can see there, hasn't moved in the last month because I'm still waiting for issue 23. I did get another, let me just answer this. Sorry, Penny, but I got a bounce catch again soon. Salutes. Be seeing you. Yeah, thank you very much for popping in. Don't ever apologize for having to go. If you have to go, you have to go. The Ecto one, I'm pretty sure I got 4 issues come through the other day, but I've just not had time to build it. So I've now got issue 27, which is stages 99, 100, 101, 102, with 102 being the rear door. I think I've done one of the side rear door. I think it's the actual back. I'd call it the boot myself, but so I've got that one to do. Again, Ecto is one of those ones where I'll do it and then I won't do it for ages, and then maybe I'll do. I think I did 9 issues the other month or something. But I'm in a bit of a grump with them because I'm a little bit tight on money. I'm on the quarterly plan with them, so they're supposed to take 120 something pounds every 3 months, and then I get a delivery every month, and then obviously once every 3 months they take more money. They're taking money off me every 2 months. Because I woke up this morning, it was paid. Well, it's actually paid. It should be payday on a Friday, and they took the money out of my account. Oh no, I don't know if I got enough to last the week. And I'm like, but they only recently took payments. So I went through my statements, and they are literally taking every. I think it was end of April they took the last payment. So it's been like a month and a half, 2 months, and I think because. When I first started it, again, that was a build that I didn't start right at the beginning with everyone else. So I was quite late to the party, as I call it, and they were sending me a pack every 3 weeks, which worked out really well because I was doing 2 issues, I think two issues every video. And just as I got to the point where I was catching up, I then had to move. And then when I lost my job last year, I didn't realize this, but a payment had bounced and I didn't notice it, but they never bothered representing. So after about 9 months, must have been about 9 months, maybe 6 months, I rang them up and I said, why have you stopped sending me Ecto ones? And they still, your payment details aren't up to date. We can't take any money. I think what they do is once a payment bounces, they remove the payment details. I said, all right, no worries. I'll give you the payment details. And obviously, when you're flush, you don't mind the issues coming every 2 or 3 weeks. But obviously now, and I know I'm behind and I'm not doing it on video anyway. So it comes when it comes. And that is all the builds I'm doing. I've got a couple of builds that I'm looking at that I really want to, I'm trying to resist not buying them. There's an Agora one. I didn't want to do the Zero. When I first saw the Zero, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do an aeroplane that bombed Pearl Harbor as my first, one of my first big aircraft. And I keep meaning to write to you. In fact, I might ask you all for a favour. There used to be a Harchette part work, which was French, of the F-14. I don't know if anyone's seen it. I don't know if anyone's built it. I don't know if it's any good. But it was a French part work. Now it's finished. I can't get hold of it. Now, Agora have said, if you've got an idea for part work, drop us a line. So I'm thinking they must be able to get a part work that did exist. So I keep meaning to write to him and say, oh, how about the F-14? There was a French version, but it never seemed to come out in Britain. But I'm looking at that Zero and I'm thinking that's quite nice. But I'm doing 2 part works a week on video. And I think that's enough for now. I don't want to put too much pressure on me. But there's an Eagle Moss one. I'm quite tempted by that Samba camper van. I know a couple of people that started it, but don't seem to be continuing it. I'm a little bit fearful that I won't ever get my issue 20 pack 23 for the Fiat. And I will kick up a stink on that one. If they don't ever send me pack 23, I want to send the whole thing back and get refunded on 24 packs, every penny that I paid. Also, the other thing is, and I might wait till a part work finishes. If you guys remember, I did the Hermione ship and I really enjoyed that. And looking at my channel views, that did extremely well. That was hitting 4 figures on, not necessarily in 1 week, but that was hitting high 3 figures of 4-figure views. So I'm not a view chaser, but obviously if viewers enjoy the videos that I'm making and they're coming back and watching them, then that's a win-win, isn't it? I enjoy making them, other people enjoy watching them. That's a service we're doing for each other. That's a mutual agreement. And I can't find the Hermione, but what I have found, it's that's handy. So D'Agostino the Sam, so you've ordered it. Right, please will you give me feedback on it? I've seen some of the builds. I know Build with Adrian did it. I don't know if Build with Adrian is still Build with Adrian or if he's changed his name. And I know Horlicks was going to do it, but he had problems with the ordering or something. Or was that no, that was something anyway. But yeah, what I've seen with D'Agostini is the Victory. Now, there was a Victory part work came out donkey's years ago, and I actually started it, and I did about 8 or 9 issues. And story of my life, ran into financial difficulties, couldn't afford it anymore. And then I got a friend at work, and she said, "Yeah, I collected the Victory," because I've never even started, never had time to start it. And I sort of said to her, as a bit partly joke, partly serious. Well, so if I bought it, would it kind of motivate you to do it? And, you know, we can sort of feed back to each other. But actually, I'd quite like to do that. There's a lot of ships out there, but 90% of the ships don't mean, obviously they'd be educational because I'd be learning about this ship. But the Victory, obviously, and if you're British, you know what the Victory is. And you know, it's sort of ran down you at school what the Victory was, and Lord Nelson and blah, blah, and Kiss Me Hardy and all the rest that goes with it. So I'm kind of thinking of doing the Victory again as the part work, but doing it as a part work rather than just doing what I can each week. Because I think people enjoyed, I don't know if they enjoyed the Hermione or if they enjoyed a ship build, but yeah, I've had comments, but unfortunately that's been lost. That was when I lost my storage. It was down in the storage yard and it got disposed of, and you know, it shit happens really, isn't it? You go through difficulties, but that's not the end of the world, is it? So yeah, I'm thinking about ship build, but not at the moment, because if I did everything now that I'm planning to do, I wouldn't even have time to go to work, would I? And I'd just be pumping 3 or 4 videos out a day. So yeah, there's my plans. So yeah, so model cheating, airbrushing, fire trucks going nice. I really am enjoying that. Do you know what? Despite the problems with the fire truck, I am enjoying it. I can't remember what issue I had some real serious problems with. I don't know if it's come out. It might have been issue 21, but you'll see it when it comes out. And I think the video is about 2 hours long for one stage, and I was almost like, that's it, I'm not doing the build. But yeah, and I made mistakes on it, and I think debriefing myself when I made the mistakes, I think that's because I was doing YouTube as a pumping YouTube videos out, and that was one of the contributory factors that sort of made me think, well, no, let's do this because I enjoy it. And you know, that kind of changed things a bit, and now I'm enjoying YouTube more, and I'm enjoying the builds more. So the fire truck I'm enjoying, the Eddie Stobart I am really enjoying. I think, I hate to say this, I think it might be a better build than the Routemaster. Shoot me down! But yeah, I thought the Routemaster was a fantastic build, but I think that Eddie Stobart is going to be, it's just going well. It really is a nice build, but we haven't had the electronics yet. So I'm reserving judgment. F14, I will just put the F14 down as one big learning curve. Doing a model like that as your first model back, and also YouTubing it is different from, see, with this Sky Raider, I just pick it up, do a little bit of it and put it down, and if I've done a bit out of sync, that's fine. When you're doing it on YouTube, and I don't scale model properly, and I never will, in the sense that ideally what you want to do is get all the parts painted before you start building, and then all the inside parts you get done, because you can't paint inside the fuselage once you've glued it together. And but I like to do it by stages, and sometimes that's the wrong order, but that's the way I want to do it, and that's what I've learned from the F14. And taking on like 7 or 8 stages in one video is not a good idea. So take it in small chunks and then add extra if you've got the time, but don't bank on it. Plus I waffle on, so you know I can turn a 5-minute video into a 5-hour video quite easily. But yeah, so I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to carry on with the F14. Obviously, I'm going to finish it to the best of my ability, and then maybe next year or the year after, Tammy has got an F14A with the carrier launch deck, And I'm guessing, I haven't looked at the instructions, but I'm guessing it's the same model as the one I'm building at the moment, but you get the launch deck with it. So I'll probably order that and build that. And then we can sort of, you know, do it as a revisit, and we'll see if I've learned anything. And you guys who chose the Mosquito as my next build, you've definitely done me a really good turn there, because it's a much simpler kit, and it goes together really well. And I would go as far as saying it's almost a beginner kit. The undercarriage is really hard, really hard, I found. But if you find the undercarriage too much, then do it wheels up, put the flaps on and do the wheels up if it's too much. So let's see if I've upset David Bassett. Hearsay Penny, nothing tops the Routemaster. I thought about the Eddie Stobart lorry, but having seen several people building it, I wasn't that impressed by the interior seats quality. I'm not going to disagree with you there, David. The interior seats aren't the most fantastic, but could we also have that same argument with the Routemaster? You know, hard plastic seats with stickers on them. It's basically all they are, aren't they? And then the big ugly screws on the back of the seats, which a lot of people have covered them up. You know, the Routemaster's brilliant. The complaints with the Routemaster for me was that wiring went mental. Do you remember that live stream I did with the wiring? And the bit you guys didn't see, I had everybody on the stream with me, and I'm like, oh God, this is mental. And I'm trying to tidy these wires up, and I was having a little go, and I'm like, oh, and every swear word was coming out. This is off stream. And then about 5 minutes before the stream, I went, and it just suddenly came together, and I had all the wires sorted out, and it was brilliant. But I can't get over the fact that the roof panels, because they're metal, they haven't been primed. They've just put paint straight onto the metal. If you screw that screw in just ever so slightly too tight, a big chunk of paint comes off. And it's okay. I mean, I haven't painted the roof back yet. Apparently it is an absolute colour match for X7, Tamiya X7. But that paint has a thickness. It's not really thin paint. It's quite thick. So you've got to either strip the whole panel, or you've got to dab the paint onto the same thickness. So that's something I'm not looking forward to, but it might just be a case of, and I've learned, don't laugh at me, I've learned a new thing this week. I'm watching Paul ISM. I'm one of these, I ain't frightened to ask questions. And he was doing some etch priming. I'll put this etch primer on. And I said to him, what's the difference between etch primer and a normal primer? He says etch primer is mainly for metal, and what it does is it eats into the metal. And then it reminded me of when I was doing the R2D2, I'd gone down to Halfords to buy primer, and they said, oh, what are you actually priming? And I said, oh, and they said, don't get the etch primer. Well, you can get the etch primer, but it's for plastic, you don't need it. So I thought, yeah. So with watching Paul ISM and then thinking back to the R2D2, I might just take the panels off the roof. And we just catch that one because it's someone going. So Love Minnie says, sorry, Penny, gotta go. Great to see you live. How many times I've got to tell you, you don't have to apologize for leaving. But it's always great to see you all. So yeah, so take the panels off, strip the paint off them, etch prime them, and then maybe spray on Tamiya X7 and then put them on, or maybe not screw them in, maybe pin them in, or I don't know, I'll work something out. But yeah, it can be fixed, but it is. I mean, I never rate anything more than 9 out of 10. I don't like out of 10 ratings. I I would rather rate it by letters, but that's definitely an A rating, isn't it? But if I was forced to give it a mark out of 10, I'd never go more than 9, because don't matter how good something is, there's always going to be something better in the future. So if you've given something a 10 and 2 years later something better comes along, how can you give that high score? So yeah, I always, but that's that. I mean, it was a wonderful build, and I was very lucky that that was my first part work. If I'd had, I'm trying to think, Spitfire. I'm only up to 93. I'd fallen behind. I don't know why I'd fallen behind on the Spitfire. I didn't miss a single payment on the Spitfire. They just stopped sending them. And now I'm about 4 or 8 issues behind everyone else. But obviously I was aware of the problems, and I received issue 93 last month. 93, 94, 95, 96, I think it was. And I think maybe they've accelerated a bit, because I've just gone, I'll tell you exactly where I'm up to. I am exactly up to there. If you recognize that, you'll know exactly where I am. I think it's issue 102. I saw it and I built it. But obviously, because I was aware of the problems, when I got to issue 93, I stopped, because I knew that when I got to issue 100, I would have to go back and strip things out and replace them. And I can't see the point in building something if you know you're going to have to take it out. So I stopped at 93 anyway. I've got it in. Well, where am I actually up to on the builds? Oh, I had a lot of frustrations the other week. I was putting the wing panels on. Let me get it for you. So I really shouldn't have gone this far, because I think this has all got to come apart. But this is where I'm up to. I put the tops of the wings on, and I'm scared of this, because this light on there keeps popping out. So I think I might have to glue that in. That's where my pegs. Isn't it funny? I've been looking for my pegs, and 4 of them are stuck on the Spitfire. So yeah, that's where I'm up to, and it's a motivation killer, isn't it, when it goes wrong? But the question I've got is, sorry guys, I don't know if you heard me from there, because I wasn't anywhere near the mic. If that was your first build, would you buy another part work? You know, my first part work was the Route Master, which is a very good build. That Ecto 1 is a very good build. I'm really liking that. You know, a lot of the builds I've had, the Terminator, some of the parts were extremely quick to build, but you got large parts. So if you've got large parts, you can't expect to get many of them. So a lot of the stages were like 5-minute builds, but you got a good result at the end. So obviously when you're doing Route Master, Ghostbusters, Terminator, you know, you know what a build, what your normal build is, but that Spitfire, it is, I think there's no 2 ways about it. It's a bit disappointing. As a static model, it looks absolutely fine, but as the promise they gave us with it, it's not so good. But that's the way it is. I'll keep going, because I'm so far in that I can't really stop now, can I? But if it only ever ends up as a static model, then it ends up as a static model. But yeah, Eddie Stobart, and I've worked the length out. I'm one of these kind of people, if you give me dimensions, they are just numbers on a bit of paper to me. It's, you know, if you say something is 1.2 meters or something, that, I don't know. But I got my, you'll see this come out on the video if I haven't done it already. But I got my, is it 1 to 70? Yeah, 1 to 76 scale version of, this isn't the one we're building. This is Dolly, but other than the registration plate and the name on the front, it's the same. Now, we haven't started on the trailer yet. We're only doing the cab. Now, look at the size of that cab and look at the size of the whole thing. Now, the actual door on the model is that big, which means that, and I worked it out, this, you can call this a 1:76 scale, or you can call this roughly 1/4 scale of the model. 1 to 12, 24, 40. No, it's about 1/6. It's about 1 to 6 scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to be about that long, roughly. Now that I've got this and I can do comparisons, that's how long my Eddie Stonebart's going to be. So yeah, that's pretty big, isn't it? So right, where are we up to? Right, so P40F20, I think the one with the carrier deck is the F14D. Probably right. But it's the basics are the same anyway, isn't it? And I would suspect that it's probably the same sprues with some different bits. I've noticed that with the Spitfire, because I'm watching a lot of videos, and one thing I noticed with the Mozzie, here we are, look, so there's two things I noticed. These are the wingtips. Now for my version, I need those. These are different wingtips, they're not used. So, and you don't use them for any of the variants. Here we are. And these 4 bits here, they look suspiciously like long-range fuel tanks. Don't use them for any of the variants, A, B, or C. So I'm guessing, without looking, that Tamiya either plan to or have made a different variant of the Mosquito. So obviously they've put those bits on, so they haven't got to make complete new molds. And this probably explains why when you buy a kit, you see you get all these big sprues, right, and then all of a sudden you get a little sprue. These are probably all variants or something like that, something a little bit unique to that mark. So my guess is that the Tamiya F14D is pretty much the same as the A version, but with some different bits in. So Troop Eddie, yes, it wasn't fair, so we're missing the lights. Yeah, that little side light, that was dodgy, wasn't it, not having that? So Night Love Minis, so take care, Love Minis. The dark green camouflage has been painted on wrong on the Spitfire. Yeah, see, now, if I could buy decals or make decals, I've got my laser printer, so theoretically I might be able to. Then I would probably just strip that whole, take photos and then strip the whole lot and repaint it. I've seen pictures on, I don't look on Facebook too much, because one of the things that winds me up a little bit is people get their 4 issues, and you seem to get, some people get their issues one day and then a load of other people get theirs the next day, and then maybe someone else will get the day after. I always seem to be that second day, and then you get these people who get them the day before I receive mine, and by 9 o'clock in the morning they've made it and they've posted it on Facebook. And A, my postman doesn't come at 9 o'clock, even if it came on the same day as you. B, your postman's come that early and you've got in there and you've built it, and now you've got another 27 days to wait. I don't get it. And then C, you're spoiling it for everyone else. Some people, I've said on these Facebook groups, could perhaps, if you're posting pictures of your build, maybe you could put spoiler alert and then hit return, say 8 or 9 times, and then post the pictures, or post the pictures in the comments, so you're still posting it. But everyone thinks I'm daft for suggesting that. So I just round about the time when the issues are due, when it comes up on my phone, such and such is posted in the Builder Spitfire group, I just ignore it. And then I look at it after I've got my issues. But yeah, I have seen pictures of the wrong shade of green. Not just the wrong shade of green, but one bit of the Spitfire is a completely different shade of green. So I'll have a look at it. Maybe I can paint over it without affecting the decals. Maybe I can't. Maybe we don't care. You know, I don't know. So from what I've built so far, there isn't any issues with the color. But I do know the correct. Now here's the thing, and I'm not extremely knowledgeable. Part of the reason why I buy AK is because what we're looking at, brown and green, aren't we? So for scale models, let me find it. Bear with me. I will find it. I have lost it. Right. So that's blue. Right. I am looking for a color that actually has the words RAF on it. Is that it? I don't think that's it. Right. Okay. So to save me from streaming me looking through my paints all night long, AK Interactive make sets, and these are the correct colors. And it's not that one. Here it is. I had it all along. So these are the correct colors for RAF camouflage for World War II. So the Spitfires and the Mosquito, this is what I'm doing the Mosquito in. And I don't care what the conversion from the Tamiya is, they're going to get done in these colors. They may not be the correct shade for that scale, but every World War II 1:48 scale aircraft that I do, RAF aircraft, will be done in those colors, so at least they'll be consistent. Now, I am not an expert on colors and the way that colors work, but what I do know is the smaller the scale, the lighter you need to make the color. Because color, I might have that wrong. No, you need to make it lighter. So you have the full scale thing, and then obviously this. So I'm guessing this is lighter than the actual colors from World War II. Now, I'm building a 1:48 scale Mosquito at the moment. It'll probably look really good with those colors. Can I use these colors on the Spitfire, which is 1:18, is it? Which is 4 times the size scale-wise of the Mosquito? Or should I use a darker color? So, you know, is it the right color for the scale, or is it just the wrong color? So the main problem is the overall pattern of the dark green. It's not the B scheme right. So where the squiggly lines are, where the green meets the brown, is in the wrong position, is it? I haven't really got, without searching the internet, I don't have a reference material. So is that what you're saying? It's not that the colours are wrong, it's just that where because I noticed that they kind of, there's a way to do it, isn't there? And P40 says, yes, the smaller the scale, the lighter the colours need to be. So yeah, on that one, I'm guessing that these two colours would be no good for a 1:12 scale, for example. I don't know. But then saying that, because I'm starting to weather my aircraft and I'm doing wear and tear, my colours don't come out exactly as anyway, this being the example. Obviously this is meant to look like it's been sat on a carrier deck. So my argument, and no one's disagreed with me, and I'm listening to people if they are, If you, right, there we go. The layout of the dark green is wrong, right? But you were spotting inaccuracies right from the beginning, weren't you? Like the cockpit color, because that's something I've got to worry about actually. I remember you telling me, is it Humbrol 64 green is the correct color, whereas I think it's this one. Yeah, the Spitfire was painted more this color, an XF71 from Tamiya, sort of that color. And I remember P40 saying that that's the wrong color, and we sourced a Humbrol, which is a much greenier green, more of a olive drabby green. And then one I've done is when I've done my Mosquito, Humbrol 78, I was close on 2 numbers out, wasn't I? Whereas I've done my Spitfire, my Mosquito, REF cockpit green, and I trust that color. But that's probably the color I'd do a Spitfire, because it's World War II RAF cockpit. Yeah, X71 is Japanese. Yeah, I did notice that. I'm pretty sure it's been called Japanese cockpit, but Humbrol are calling it, well, they're actually calling it Cockpit Green, which is obviously cockpit green. So that was almost unlucky. I have one breakable thing on my whole desk, which is a tile that I use as a palette. I just dropped that paint and it landed on the tile. Of my desk is this wide and my tile is that wide. That's how things go with me. Yeah, so but my argument is that if you're going to be putting oils and you're going to be weathering and panel washers and things like that, you're not going to end up with the original color that you painted anyway. Say with that Spitfire, with the F14 and the Sky Raider, yeah, I made it lighter in places, and then there's going to be washers going on there. If the original grey is a shade too light or a shade too dark, by the time you put all those washers on, does it really actually make that much difference? If you're not going to weather, then I would say, yeah, get the absolute critical. It's absolutely critical that you get the correct shade. But if you're going to slap loads of oils and stuff on, close enough is fine. In fact, I could probably actually paint all of that with grey oil paint and then just do all the shading and everything. But right, so for the last hour I've been saying that's about it. So I really can't think of any more. Got to get motivated to get that Spitfire finished, the Airfix one, which I am not enjoying. This is it so far, and it's all right, and I've been able to make it look a little bit better than it actually is. And for a cheap old bit of kit, it's actually goes together quite well. And it's I can remember when I was a kid that kits didn't go together that well, and I wasn't much of a filler and sander when I was a kid, so a lot of my kits did have gaps in them. And this Mosquito, I noticed, I was watching a video on the build, and he said, oh, it's very gappy on the nacelle, and I put mine together and there is a little gap, but there's a flap either side of the nacelle, so I'm not going to fill that gap because I think there would be a gap where the flap would go. So maybe he had a duff kit, maybe I had a good one, I don't know, but I think I'm spoiled with Tamiya. I'm being told Tamiya. I've only actually really built Tamiya kits so far. The F14 Tamiya, Sky Raider Tamiya, Mosquito Tamiya, goes together really, really well. I know there's a couple of bad Tamiya's out there. My Skyhawk is Italiari, and there's a couple of fit issues with that. A future project is the C2 Hawkeye. A lot of problems with putting it together, but nothing that won't be fixed with lots and lots of Tamiya extra thin and filler. So that's okay. And but it's a kinetic kit, so I gather kinetics aren't as great, but it's a subject matter that I really desperately want. And there's also the C2. Hang on, no, the Hawkeye is the E2. It's the Greyhound that's the C2, and it's the Greyhound that I really wanted, but I can't find any videos on YouTube for the. Well, I can't find any build videos. I can find here's a photo, here's a photo, here's a photo videos, and I can find kit reviews and conclusions, but no actual build videos. So I'm on my own on that one. I've seen some build diaries on websites as well, but no actual videos. And then have I shown you this one, guys? I don't know why I bought it, but I kind of like it and I don't. This is got dusty. So that's your second-hand kit. This is the Heinkel HE111H6. This is the model from the album cover of the album Bomber by Motorhead. And there is a build video on this. But it was a little bit odd in that the story goes, the Bomber, that on the album cover was made from so apparently Motorhead had bought the Airfix kit of this, painted it black and stuff, and then used that as their album art, and then Airfix have copied the album art and made it into a kit. So it's a copy of a kit of a kit. But there's a couple of issues with it, because all this is the bog standard Heinkel with different decals. But if you look at the album cover, you'll see that some of the windows are blacked in, so the windows have to be filled, so they look like a flat panel. But I'm guessing that would be a rather simple build, because you just paint the whole lot gloss black and it's done. So that's a bit of a novel one. Another one I'm thinking about doing, I've been watching videos on, is the Apollo something or another. It's 1.54 meters tall, but it essentially is lots of tubes that interlock. You just have to paint the tubes, and a hell of a lot of masking. But it looks like a great result. Can you imagine me having a rocket about this tall in the background there? I think that'd be brilliant. But I don't know if I'd rather do the space shuttle. I just think I'm not really a massive spacey person, and because the space shuttle looks a bit more aeroplane-y than a rocket, I think maybe I might want to do the space shuttle. But yeah, that's about it. So I've done my shout out right at the beginning, didn't I? And everyone said hello to Joseph, so hopefully he'll be a happy bunny and his mum will be a happy bunny, because I'm doing her bus route next week, so I wouldn't want her getting on my bus and having to go out. I mean, I did promise a shout out, but obviously if when you're making because when I was doing the desk, I made a lot of videos in advance. So if you've made 6 weeks videos in advance, then you say to someone, I'll give you a call out on the next video, and it's going to be 6 weeks, they'll eventually get to the point where they go, well, they've forgotten about me. I haven't. So, right, guys, so I need to go to bed because I have an early-ish, I say early-ish, the 8 o'clock start tomorrow. So I need to be up about 6, which is less than 8 hours away. So I'm going to be a grumpy little bugger tomorrow because I won't get my full sleep. Thank you very much, everybody, for viewing. I really appreciate any help you've got. Thank you for all the input. It's great because every time I do a live stream, I don't do so many live streams, but I always learn something new, even if it's being told off, and then I learn something new. But I think we've raised a good few subjects, and obviously I always like to, and I kind of touched on this with the Hermione and the victory. When I get feedback from you guys, obviously I do just do videos for me to share with everybody, and I'm just as happy with 1 view as I am with 4 million views. But obviously, if I know you guys are enjoying my videos, and I know some of you are, because some of you keep commenting on it, which is brilliant. But obviously it just gives me so much more mojo. Mojo, that's my word of the day, isn't it? June's word is mojo. I do like that word. Go into work and go, I've just got no mojo. Actually, the most common thing. Modelling trucker's back again. Hello, just as I'm about to go shortly anyway. Yeah, one of the things I'm starting to say a lot at work is, sorry I'm late, I didn't want to come. I do like that saying. I did have a bit of a moment with them. Actually, I didn't. I actually kept calm. One of the issues I have with work is that they'll sometimes change my duty and they kind of forget to tell me. And was it last Saturday or Saturday before? Because I have Fridays off. And if they change the duties on Friday, they don't tell me because I'm not in the building. And they forget to ring me. And it was last week. It was last Friday because I'd made 6 videos in 1 day off. And I was well chuffed with myself because I hadn't just made 6 videos. I'd made 6, I thought 6 good videos. I think I'd made 5 Eddie Stobarts and a really good Mosquito one. It went really, really well. And I was on a bit of a high. And I just left the house on Saturday morning. Now, I always aim, it takes me about half an hour to an hour to get to work. So I always leave 2 hours before I start to aim to get to work an hour early because we've got this horrible motorway and sometimes there's roadworks on at the moment and sometimes things happen. It has taken me over 2 hours to get to work and I don't like to be rushed at work anyway. So they always know I'm half an hour to an hour early. And I just left the house. I'm just putting the key in the door to lock it. And my phone goes. And it's my boss. And I say, hello. And he says, where are you, Paddy? I said, well, I'm just walking out my front door. And he went, oh. He says, what duty number do you think you're on? I said, well, I think I'm on 123. He says, he goes, they've changed the duty and haven't told you, haven't they? And I said, yes, I think they haven't told me. I said, when do I start? He says, in about 10 minutes. And I just went, well, tough. I said, I'm going to be in about an hour. And I was in about an hour. And I was just like, it's your cock up, so you can deal with it. So bus off the road for about an hour. And I did say, I said, I made 6 videos yesterday. So my stress levels have gone from level 10 to level 4. I said, and now they're up to 5 and I haven't even started work. But I said it in that tone, so I wasn't like, but I've been getting like that. So Model Making Trucker says, sorry, my wife had her stream that I help her with. Who is your wife then? What does she stream? Is it, will we all be interested? So, I don't mind giving anyone a shout out. Not that I make a huge impact when I give shout outs. I mean, there's 5 people watching at the moment, and I think I'm one of them, actually. So if I'm really good, I might get 4 subscribers. well, 3 because you're probably already subscribed. But I could pretty much name who my viewers are right now. I know one of them isn't Love Minis, and I'm guessing one of them's P40. Dexterous crafting, that's something that I would be personally interested in. So let's do. Is she still has she finished streaming now? Because the thing is, I tell you the videos that I really like, the ones that I can fall asleep to, and by that I mean I go to bed. There we go. I'll actually post that into. I just remembered if I post into the chat. This is that. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I'm on the wrong account, because I tend to watch my channel from a different channel, as you can see. Right, let's do this properly. Oh, it has come up. There we go. Right, guys, give that channel a look. So I will watch that tonight. So and well, that's all right, because like I said earlier on in the stream, the great thing about picking up the new channel is that there's all these history of videos to watch. So I'll be catching up on that one. So yeah, I'll see if it works well for me. I do like to go to bed and watch. I have YouTube on, and then at some point I fall asleep and I wake up. And what I find really fascinating about YouTube with the autoplay is because obviously what happens is your next autoplay video is something similar, but it may not be quite the same. And then the next video is slightly similar. But by the time you've let it run for about 50 videos, you've got something completely different. And it's like you might go to bed watching a video on ice cream, and then you wake up watching videos of paranormal activity or something like that. And it's just absolutely crazy. I'm a bit of a strange one like that. But yeah, I will give that a look. Model Shed is building Tammy and Mozzie with some additional etched parts. I think I started watching that this morning and I had to stop. I'll be honest with you, at the stage I'm at with building, I do like people who put extras in, but at this point it's useless for me. If you remember the early F14s, and I think P40 hit the nail on the head, I went out and bought this kit, bought 4 sets of photo etch parts, and I bought the book on how to build it, and I made a complete pig's ear of it. And I had already decided, sod the rest of the photo etch parts, they're going on the shelf. And P40 had made a comment, something along the lines of, maybe you just want to hold back on the photo etch parts. And this is based on the videos that had got released, and I'd already decided that weeks earlier. So what obviously I'm doing, yeah, photo etch is great because it adds so much detail, but it's not for the faint-hearted, is it? So obviously this Mosquito is a bit of a confidence builder, and then maybe I'll look at a part. I've got the Tamiya Spitfire. I'm doing it as a 1:4 scale model of the part work model. I've got all of the excuse me, I've got a set of decals. I've got the same markings as that Spitfire, and I want to make it as a 1:4 scale model of the Hachette rather than 1:40 scale. And that's got a few aftermarket parts, and I think looking at what I did with the F14, I've probably got just the right amount of extra parts. and then I'll work on the extra parts. And there's another channel I watch, Inner Nerd, and I love his builds, but he does put so many extra wires and things in. So part of the reason I'm going to take a long time to do this B17 is I'm going to do a lot more research on it. I'm going to look at playing with a few bits of additional detail, like wires and engine pipes. That's something I want to look into doing, but I don't think there's anything wrong with building out of the box. If I did no research whatsoever on something, bought the model, opened the box, did exactly what it said on the instructions, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. You'll get your people go, oh, that's not accurate, that's not the right color, we need to put one. That's fine if that's what you want to do. But then on the other hand, if you want to put extra detail in, and then you end up putting detail that isn't there, is that worse than not putting the detail in the first place? So, out of box is absolutely fine. And the Mosquito, I'll be honest with you, that's being done out of box. And if it's wrong, it is wrong, actually. I have done it wrong. I've done one bit the wrong color, so I've got to paint over it because I read the color call out wrong. So I've done a button red. For some reason, I read it as mixing red with hull red, when actually it was mixing blue with grey. It's not even like nearly similar colour. Some people are going to argue with the cockpit colour. It probably is wrong. The colour call out in the instructions is to mix 3 Tamiya paints. I've looked at the Tamiya paints and I've deduced that that's going to come out as a green, and I'm happy, and I don't care if anyone else isn't happy. If you're not happy with one color that I've done, go out and buy the Mosquito yourself and do it the color that you want. That's maybe a bit of a harsh attitude, but that is my attitude. Right, guys, I am going to have to go because, like I say, it's a time I only want to do it. I do this every stream, don't I? I only want to do an hour, and it's been 2.5, well, pushing 2.5 hours. So, and I've not eaten today. Well, I say I've not eaten. I've had 1 bowl of Cocoa Pops, and I've had a pot noodle, and I've still got my packet of French fries, which I was going to have for afters. And it's 10:30 at night, and I've no. Right. P40, I mostly build out the box, but I try to use. Yeah, I try to use the right colors, but I'll use a color that I'm happy with. I mean, like I say, with the sun bleaching on those Navy aircraft, we could be here all day arguing what is the correct color. The cockpit on the Mosquito, you're not going to see that as much as you're going to see the outside. I am very much one guy I was watching building the 1-48 Mosquito. He left a lot of bits out because it's inside the cockpit. You're not going to see it. I'm very much I don't care if you're going to see it or not. I know it's painted, and if I miss that, if I don't paint a bit that you're not going to see anyway, it is going to trouble me because I know it's not painted. A really good example, and I followed the instructions actually. You're going to paint this part of the fuselage. Well, you're actually not going to see it. You're not really going to see that part, but it's painted anyway. And I know it's painted. And if I was in that mood for doing chipping, I would have painted that silver, and then I would have painted it green, and then I would have stripped some of the green off to expose the silver to make it look like it's. I don't think you do that on a Mosquito anyway, would you? But you get the point. On the B17, the inside of the B17 you're not going to see, but I might just chip it, and no one is going to see it. But I'll know it's done, and I know it's done to the best of my ability, and that's what I'm at. You know, is it better than the last kit I did, and did I do my best? That's all I care about. Right, so, I did a Star Wars spaceship in Royal Mail livery that caused a fuss. Do you know what? I can imagine that, because I've been thinking. I couldn't go this year, but round about my birthday, they've got the Scottish model shows at Perth or something like that. I really want to go, but I couldn't go. But I looked at the competition entries, and there's two that stuck out in my mind. There was a Scotland themed. Now I model scale models aircraft, so Scotland theme. The only thing I can really think of to do is aircraft based at Lossiemouth. But then there's another category called What If. Now, obviously, Star Wars spaceship in Royal Mail livery could fit into that. And what I was actually thinking about was, what if Scotland got independence? And I thought, if I can make some decals up, maybe I can design some... what do you call them, the roundels, but for a Scottish Air Force. You know, that was something I was thinking of, but can you imagine? I mean, if I did like a Scottish version of the Red Arrows and maybe had a big Scotland flag on it, it was all done in blue and all really nice and clean and lovely, that would be, I can see probably a 50-50 split. 50% of people will go, wow, that's a really good idea. And the other 50% will go, burn, gonna burn you at the stake, burn you with fire. It's David Bassett, great live stream. So I will wish you a very good night. And the same to you. And an X-Wing and RAF, a World War II RAF camera and markings would be tasty. Do you know what? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. It's going to be ages. When I have a sizable channel, I'm going to make a group build. And I'm going to do, what if Star Wars was in World War II? Or something like that. I think that has got to be something that's worth pushing, isn't it? So I did a Red Arrow in Vallejo colour, shifted gold colours as well. Well, why not? Is it they've been doing Hawks and that in funny colours, especially with the NHS. Clap for the NHS. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't seen any of the Jubilee celebrations today, but I wouldn't be surprised if they repainted the Red Arrows for a fly past. Right, guys. So I am definitely going now. So it's always lovely to do the odd live stream. I'm trying to do a monthly channel update on my first day off of the month. So today being the whatever date it is, the 3rd. I was working yesterday and the day before, so this is my first day off of the month. 1st of July is on a Friday. Now, the situation with work is, with Flixbus, I am now officially spare. They haven't got all the runs that they thought they were getting, so I'm not on the rota, but I am doing holiday cover. So if I'm not on Flixbus, I will have that Friday off and I'll do a stream on the 1st of July. If I am doing holiday cover or something, I will be doing my next stream, God knows when. But I will be doing my next channel update on my first day off in July. That is all I can tell you. I'm really sorry it's that vague. This is part of the reason why I'm not doing live streams so much now. I just can't commit the time. If I was back at, I mean, one idea I was having, the rotas don't turn out like this. But if I was back at the last company I was working, where I do 4 days on and 4 days off, I was sort of toying with the idea of having the every 8-day show. Because obviously 4 days on, 4 days off. My first day off of the 4 would be 8 days. I don't know why I've just explained that to you. You guys can understand that. Oh God, why is it all the good ideas come out just as I wanna, just as I'm about to leave finish the stream? I want to do an R2D2 as an Amazon delivery bot. Do you know what? These are the ideas that are so absurd they're actually awesome. But yeah, I mean, I obviously my imagination isn't as great as yours, but I mean, I've thought about making a company up and getting a model van, and making the van for that company. But I suppose that requires quite a bit of work. But yeah, what if Amazon was around in the 60s? That would be a good project. Now, do you know what? I think I've got my models for next year's Scotland show, haven't I? The what ifs. What if Amazon was 100? Yeah. What if Amazon was advertising on a B-type bus? Anyway, guys. So, right. So, guys, take care, everybody. Thank you ever so much for supporting my channel. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to have to do this, aren't I? Plus, I've never seen Star Wars, which causes, oh God, do you know what? I get that. I love all of the Star Wars. I do love Star Wars, and I love the Mandalorian. I love the Boba Fett one. I really loved. I've now watched the Obi-Wan Kenobi one. Whatever it is, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I know nothing about the canon. I don't know anything about the comic books. I don't care for the comic books or the canon. I watch the TV and the films, and I watch Emergency Awesome, who then does an analysis of that, and then he explains all the Easter eggs. So without trying not to give spoilers, but somebody got killed in an episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he shouldn't be dead because he appears somewhere later on in the future in one of the comic books. And I know that because I watched Emergency Awesome, and that does me absolutely fine. But I do like Star Wars. I'm not an expert on Star Wars. I don't care that I'm not an expert on Star Wars. To me, it's an entertaining film and program. And now that this Obi-Wan Kenobi's on, it's something to look forward to. So David Bassett is suggesting a B-type bus in Stagecoach livery. Well, I wouldn't do Stagecoach. I have no connection with them. The only link I've ever had with Stagecoach, I've never worked for them. This is a funny story. I think it's hilarious. When I was in not Scotland, I was coming into a bus station, and there was a Stagecoach, and he had his right indicator on the stop. So I stopped to let him out, and he didn't go. So I flashed him, and he still didn't go. And I flashed him a couple of times, and he didn't go. And then I came to the conclusion that because he's come from the right into the bus station, he's obviously forgot to cancel his indicator. So as I passed him, I was sort of signaling, you've got your indicator on. And then I pulled into the next stop. And this guy started having a go at me. And I said, no, I'm not being a twat. I said, you've left. Anyway, he came running up to me, and he actually technically assaulted me. So I reported him, and I feel bad about this, but he got the sack. But he wasn't on his first warning for that kind of offence. But secondly, the bit that made me laugh, he was the Stagecoach health and safety manager for that particular depot. So I thought that was funny, you know. I got assaulted by the health and safety manager at Stagecoach. That's the only real connection. The drivers that I pass in the Glasgow area, they're really friendly. I don't know any of them, but generally, you know, bus driver wave is really important. You have to wave. But you generally find drivers from other companies won't wave back. And all of the Stagecoach drivers always wave back when I was something like that, and they'll always acknowledge me. So, you know, I don't know them, I haven't spoken to anyone, but on that basis, they seem all right. So, you know, if I'm ever desperate for a job, I might give Stagecoach a look. Stagecoach started out in Scotland. I did not know that, with Brian Suter and Anne Glogue. And then Michael's just don't watch it because it winds the wipe. Oh, well, fair enough. You know, obviously, if your partner gets wound up by you watching something, then if you want to, well, you got a choice, really, haven't you? Don't watch it or watch it in secret. Right, guys, so I really am going. I really am going. I've been saying that for the last half an hour. So I need some ending music, don't I? What did you guys think to the intros? Can you remember that far back? Do you like the first intro I did, or did you like the Scottish takeover one? So Andy M. Hi Penny, remember me, didn't realise you were back. Andy M, how can I ever forget you? Andy M is one of the viewers that was with me a long time ago when I was. In fact, didn't you used to be Andy M? I'm pretty sure that was. Well, I might have that right. Anyway, look, I'm trying to go and I'm asking you guys questions, which is inviting feedback, which then means I got to wait for the feedback, which means I can't end the stream. I don't want to be rude. I really do have to go, but Andy M has just said yes. So there you go. Is that proof that I remember you? So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I really appreciate it. Obviously, my videos are coming out 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I really doing 4 videos a week plus 1 a month? So I will be back live some point in July. I was thinking of making a video on my first Flixbus trip down to London. I've got to double check that though, because we've just had a thing at work. I think they have secrets coming out because we've all been told to acknowledge a ruling. We are not allowed to take photos in the depot because the company will tell us things when they're ready to tell us. So, you know, obviously, if I'm going to take a photo of my coach that I'm about to drive down to London, that's taking photos in the depot. So I'll see what I can wangle up, see if I can do bits and bobs. But yeah, other than that, I will see you at some point in July. You guys have a wonderful month. Hopefully it will be nice and warm. It certainly is warming up at the moment. It's been warm today. And summer are we officially in summer? I can't remember. Right, guys, so I'm going. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.